Have you ever felt like disappearing, completely vanishing from the noise, the pressure, and the endless expectations? Not running away, but simply stepping back so deeply that the world's chaos can no longer reach you. Imagine what it would feel like to pull away from all the voices telling you who you should be, all the distractions that keep you running in circles, and all the fears that hold you trapped in a life that isn't truly yours. This is not about giving up or hiding. It's about creating a sacred space within yourself, a quiet place where your real transformation can begin. Because the truth is, change doesn't come from pushing harder or doing more. It comes from stepping into the silence where you meet yourself again, without all the noise. Disappearing doesn't mean becoming invisible to the world. It means becoming visible to yourself in ways you never have before. When you allow yourself to disappear from the distractions and expectations that consume your energy, you give your mind and soul room to breathe. Scientific studies show that solitude isn't loneliness. It's an essential reset button for your brain, a time when creativity sparks and clarity floods in. But more than that, this disappearance is a powerful act of courage. It takes bravery to say no to the world's demands and yes to the unknown journey inside. It takes strength to walk away from old patterns and step into the uncertainty of becoming someone new. If you can embrace this idea, this necessity of disappearing, you're already on the path to a transformation deeper than any surface change. Because true transformation is not about tweaking who you are, it's about shedding layers that no longer serve you, about making space for the person you're meant to become. And this space, this disappearance, is where your hidden potential waits. It's where your fears will be confronted, where your dreams will take root, and where the courage to change will grow stronger every day. This journey isn't easy. It requires you to trust yourself in moments when nothing feels certain. It asks you to be patient with the silence and the solitude. But if you can hold on, if you can lean into this disappearance without fear, what you'll find on the other side is a self reborn, clear, powerful, and free. That is the emotional reward waiting for you, the chance to step into your life fully, not as a shadow of who others want you to be, but as the bold, authentic soul you've always been beneath the noise. Stay with this process. Let yourself disappear, because only when you disappear can you transform, and when you do, you'll come back stronger than ever before. This is not just a promise, it's a calling. Your transformation begins here, in this moment of quiet courage. Now that you have begun to disappear from the chaos around you, the real challenge awaits, letting go of the person you have been. This is more than just leaving behind habits or routines. It is about releasing an entire identity that no longer fits who you are becoming. You may resist this because your old self feels safe, familiar, even if it has caused pain or kept you stuck. But holding on to who you used to be is like carrying a heavy coat on a hot day, draining your energy, weighing down your spirit, and blurring the path forward. To truly transform, you must have the courage to shed this coat. You must understand that your identity is not fixed. Your beliefs, your self-image, your stories about what you are capable of. These are all flexible, shaped by your choices every day. Neuroscience reveals that your brain rewires itself constantly, proving you are never trapped by the past. This means change is not only possible, it's inevitable when you give yourself permission to grow. Letting go feels like loss, and loss feels like pain. That pain is real, and it matters. But it is also the gateway to freedom. When you stop clinging to an outdated version of yourself, you create space for a new version to emerge, stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true desires. The moment you allow yourself to say goodbye to old labels, expectations, and limitations, you invite transformation to take root. This is the paradox. You must lose yourself to find yourself. This process is deeply unsettling because you are stepping into the unknown, leaving behind the familiar terrain of your comfort zone. Yet every great transformation begins here, in this uncomfortable, uncertain place where you face the raw edges of who you thought you were and choose to move beyond them. This choice is not about perfection or instant change. It is about surrender, surrendering to the fact that who you were is no longer who you need to be. It is about trusting the unfolding process, even when the future is unclear. This trust builds resilience. It teaches you that discomfort is a sign of growth, not failure. When you let go of your old identity, you take back control over your story. You decide which parts to keep and which to leave behind. This decision is empowering because it shifts you from being a passenger in your life to the author of your own transformation. You are not losing your essence, you are rediscovering it beneath layers of fear, doubt, and external influence. This rediscovery requires brutal honesty with yourself, but it also demands compassion. Be patient with the parts of you that resist change. They are only trying to protect you. Yet, remind yourself that transformation requires a new kind of bravery, the bravery to step into vulnerability and uncertainty, knowing this is where your true strength grows. Every time you loosen your grip on the old version of you, you make room for possibility. You create a fertile ground for growth that no external validation can provide. This is the deep freedom you seek, the freedom to become who you were always meant to be, without apology or hesitation. Let this truth settle inside you and know that your willingness to let go is the first true act of transformation. As you let go of your old identity, a new kind of challenge emerges, the confrontation with your deepest fears. These fears aren't just surface anxieties. They are the invisible chains that have held you captive beneath the surface for far too long. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of insignificance. All of these rise up when you begin to disappear and rebuild. This is no accident. Your mind has evolved to protect you, to keep you safe within familiar boundaries, even if those boundaries suffocate your growth. But true transformation demands that you face these fears head-on, unflinching and uncompromising. It is here, in this invisible battle with yourself, that the strongest version of you is forged. Fear is powerful because it triggers the ancient survival instincts buried deep in your brain. It wants you to run, to hide, to freeze. But you can learn to move differently. Research shows that when you expose yourself to your fears in a controlled, deliberate way, their grip weakens. This exposure rewires your brain, teaching it that fear is not a warning to stop, but a signal to grow stronger. Every moment you face your fears without backing down, you carve out new neural pathways of courage and resilience. You prove to yourself that you are not your fears. You are the one who chooses how to respond to them. This realization is a turning point, a moment when the weight of fear begins to lift, revealing the power underneath. Facing fear alone is daunting, but it is necessary. Disappearing from the world means you will sometimes be alone with your thoughts, stripped of distractions and the comforting noise of others. This solitude can feel like emptiness, but it is actually a mirror reflecting your inner landscape. It reveals the fears you must acknowledge and the truths you must confront. When you meet fear in this quiet space, it loses its ability to control you. You become the observer of your own mind instead of its prisoner. This shift in perspective is crucial. It changes fear from a tyrant into a teacher, guiding you toward the edges of your comfort zone where growth happens. You don't need to be fearless to transform. You need to be brave enough to feel fear and move forward anyway. This bravery is not about grand gestures, but small, consistent acts of defiance against doubt. It is waking up each day determined to keep going, even when the path is unclear and the outcome uncertain. Each time you step into fear, you reclaim a piece of yourself that was hidden behind walls of anxiety and hesitation. This reclamation is deeply liberating. It fills you with a sense of power that no external circumstance can take away. Know this, fear is not the enemy. It is the gatekeeper to your transformation. The invisible battle you fight inside is the most important one you will ever face. Winning this battle means breaking free from the invisible chains that have kept you confined. It means emerging stronger, wiser, and ready to claim the life that has always been waiting for you beneath the surface. Embrace this challenge with open arms, for it is the doorway to the courage and transformation you seek. When you confront your fears and stand alone in silence, you begin to reclaim the most precious resource you have, your time. Time is the soil where transformation takes root, and yet it is one of the most stolen and wasted gifts in your life. The world constantly demands your attention, pulling you into endless cycles of distraction, urgency, and overwhelm. Each notification, each obligation, each fragmented moment chips away your ability to focus deeply on the work of becoming. To truly disappear and transform, you must learn to protect your time fiercely, treating it as the sacred vessel that carries your growth. Without this discipline, your transformation will be shallow and fleeting, lost in the noise before it can take hold. Science reveals that your brain is wired to work best when it has large blocks of uninterrupted time to think, create, and reflect. Shallow focus, the constant switching from one task to another, fragments your attention and drains your willpower. But deep focus, cultivated through intentional solitude and protected time, allows your mind to access higher levels of clarity and insight. It is in these quiet hours that your subconscious can connect the dots, that new ideas and solutions emerge, and that your authentic self starts to rise. Guarding your time isn't about isolation, it's about creating the conditions where your mind can breathe and your soul can speak. This reclamation of time demands courage. It means saying no to distractions that feel urgent but aren't important. It means setting boundaries around who and what you allow to pull at your attention. You will face resistance from others and even from yourself. Old habits, guilt, and social pressures will try to convince you that every minute must be filled, every call answered, every message returned immediately. But transformation requires a radical act, choosing presence over busyness, depth over surface, growth over complacency. When you make this choice, you tell yourself and the world that your transformation is your highest priority. In this sacred time, you create a space free from external expectations, where you can reconnect with your inner voice. This is where you listen deeply, not just to fleeting thoughts, but to the longings of your heart and the truths you have buried under layers of noise. Deep focus is a form of respect to yourself. It signals that your journey matters enough to be protected. Each moment you claim becomes an investment in your transformation, a brick laid in the foundation of your new self. The power of reclaimed time is not just in what you do, but in who you become while doing it. It teaches patience and presence. It shifts your relationship with productivity from frantic doing to purposeful becoming. You learn that your value is not measured by how busy you are, but by how aligned you are with your authentic path. Every protected hour, every silent minute, becomes a declaration of your worth and a step toward freedom. Remember, the ability to reclaim your time is one of the greatest acts of self-love you can offer yourself. It is the anchor that will keep you steady as you navigate the uncertainties of transformation. When you guard your time, you create a powerful container where your deepest growth can unfold. This is where disappearance leads, not to emptiness, but to a rich, fertile ground where your true self can emerge, fully alive and unstoppable. As you begin to protect your time and create space for transformation, the next vital step is mastering your inner dialogue, the constant conversation you have with yourself. This inner voice can either be your greatest ally or your most relentless enemy. For too long, many of us have allowed negative thoughts, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs to control the narrative inside our minds. These internal scripts shape how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. To disappear and transform, you must rewrite these scripts with intention and care. Your thoughts are not mere background noise. They are the architects of your reality. What you tell yourself in moments of silence determines how deeply you grow, how boldly you step forward, and how fiercely you protect your newfound space. The science behind self-talk reveals a powerful truth. Your brain does not distinguish well between real and imagined experiences. When you replay harsh criticisms or fears internally, your body responds as if those events were happening now, triggering stress and resistance. Conversely, when you choose empowering, compassionate words, your brain activates pathways that support resilience, motivation, and calm. This means every thought matters, and the language you use with yourself becomes a blueprint for transformation. Rewriting your inner dialogue is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to focus on what strengthens you rather than what diminishes you. This mental shift demands discipline and awareness. You must become the vigilant guardian of your thoughts, catching the negative loops before they take hold. This is not easy. Your mind is trained to seek out danger and flaws because survival once depended on it. But survival is no longer your goal. Your goal is thriving, evolving, and becoming the fullest expression of yourself. To do this, you need to replace harsh self-judgment with gentle encouragement, doubt with curiosity, and fear with determination. Every time you challenge a limiting thought and replace it with a truth that serves your growth, you weaken the old patterns and reinforce new neural connections of strength and possibility. This process also requires self-compassion. Transformation is not a race or a test where mistakes mean failure. It is a deeply human journey filled with setbacks, moments of uncertainty, and days when your inner critic feels loudest. Accepting this with kindness toward yourself keeps you grounded and resilient. When you practice self-compassion, you create a safe, emotional environment where change can happen without judgment. This safety allows your true self to emerge, one thought at a time. Changing your inner dialogue shifts more than your mindset. It changes your experience of life itself. You begin to see challenges as opportunities, obstacles as lessons, and setbacks as temporary. Your new mental narrative fuels courage and action, making every step forward feel purposeful and authentic. This shift opens the door for you to become the person who not only survives transformation but thrives because of it. Your words become the soundtrack of your rebirth, guiding you through the unknown toward the powerful, authentic self waiting to be revealed. Embrace this power. Speak to yourself with intention, and watch how your world begins to change from the inside out. With your inner dialogue shifting toward compassion and strength, you unlock a powerful force essential for transformation: your sense of self-worth. Self-worth is not something you are born with or without. It is cultivated through the beliefs you hold about yourself and the choices you make daily. Many have unknowingly tied their worth to external validation, achievements, or the approval of others, leaving their inner foundation fragile and unstable. True transformation demands that you break free from this dependence and build an unshakable sense of value from within. This is not vanity or arrogance, but a deep recognition that you are inherently worthy, regardless of your past mistakes, failures, or perceived shortcomings. Psychology teaches us that self-worth influences every area of our lives, from relationships to career to mental health. When your sense of worth is low, you settle for less than you deserve. You tolerate toxic situations, dismiss your needs, and silence your dreams. You shrink to fit others' expectations, sacrificing your authentic self. But when you claim your worth, you create a boundary that protects your energy and guides your decisions. This boundary is a shield against negativity, manipulation, and self-sabotage. It is the foundation on which you build your new life, one that aligns with your true values and deepest desires. Building self-worth requires intention and daily practice. It starts with the small, consistent choices that affirm your value. Saying no when something drains you instead of saying yes out of obligation. Speaking kindly to yourself when you stumble instead of falling into self-criticism. Prioritizing your well-being over pleasing others. Each act of self-respect sends a powerful message to your brain: you matter. These actions reshape your identity from the inside out, transforming how you feel and how others perceive you. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to honor yourself unapologetically. This process is not about becoming perfect or flawless. It is about embracing your humanity with all its contradictions and imperfections. Recognize that worth is not tied to your accomplishments but to your existence. You do not have to earn it or prove it to anyone. Your value is intrinsic, eternal, and unbreakable. This shift frees you from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval and fear of rejection. It frees you to pursue your path boldly and authentically because you no longer depend on external validation for your happiness. As you strengthen your self-worth, you also invite deeper courage into your transformation. Courage to make difficult decisions, to face uncomfortable truths, and to stand firm in your authenticity even when it feels risky. This courage does not mean absence of fear. It means choosing what is right for you despite the fear. It is the fuel that propels you forward when doubts arise and obstacles appear. With a foundation of solid self-worth, your courage becomes steady, unwavering, and resilient. Claiming your worth is one of the most radical acts of transformation you can perform. It rewires your mind, reshapes your relationships, and realigns your life's direction. When you truly believe you are worthy, you become unstoppable. Your energy shifts from scarcity to abundance, from survival to thriving. This belief lights the way as you continue to disappear from your old life and re-emerge as the powerful, authentic self you were always meant to be. Let this truth settle deep within you. Your worth is your birthright, and it is the key to your transformation. When you begin to recognize your intrinsic worth, the next step is learning to release what no longer serves you. Transformation requires shedding the weight of old identities, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, and habits that keep you tethered to your past. This release is not simply about removing things, it's about creating space within yourself for growth, clarity, and freedom. Holding on to what drains your energy or distorts your self-view dims your light and stunts your evolution. Letting go is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is an act of courage and self-respect. It declares that you refuse to be defined or confined by what once held power over you. Psychological research highlights how emotional clutter and unresolved attachments can hijack your brain's ability to focus and heal. They keep you locked in cycles of anxiety, resentment, and self-doubt. To truly disappear and transform, you must confront this internal baggage honestly and decisively. This means identifying what habits, people, or thoughts consistently pull you away from your authentic self, and then making the hard choice to release them. It may be a toxic friendship, an outdated belief about your capabilities, or a pattern of self-sabotage. Whatever it is, holding on to it keeps you trapped in a version of yourself that no longer fits who you are becoming. Releasing these burdens creates a profound sense of liberation. Imagine breathing deeply after being submerged underwater. This is the kind of relief that comes from letting go. It creates room for new energy to flow in, for fresh possibilities to emerge. Your mind becomes clearer, your heart lighter, and your path more visible. This space is where your transformation truly begins to unfold, where you can rebuild yourself free from the chains of past pain and limitation. The process is both painful and healing, but every act of release strengthens your commitment to growth. This act of letting go also strengthens your boundaries. It teaches you that protecting your energy is essential for your transformation. Boundaries are not walls to shut others out. They are gates you control, deciding what you allow to enter your inner world. Healthy boundaries prevent negativity and exhaustion from creeping back in, and ensure that the people and experiences in your life support rather than drain you. By releasing what no longer serves, you reinforce these boundaries, creating a container that nurtures your evolution rather than stifling it. Letting go requires trust. Trust that your worth and power do not depend on the past or external circumstances. It requires faith that you are moving towards something better, even when the future is unclear. This trust is not naive optimism, but a deep, steady belief born from the work you have done, reclaiming your time, rewiring your thoughts, and claiming your worth. It fuels resilience when the process feels uncomfortable or lonely. Remember, every step of release is a step closer to the authentic you. It is the cleansing fire that clears the way for transformation. Embrace this release not as loss, but as gain, the gain of freedom, clarity, and power. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you make room for the new, the true, and the extraordinary to emerge. This is the foundation on which your new self is built. As you clear the space by releasing what holds you back, you open yourself to the powerful force of presence, the ability to fully inhabit this moment without distraction or resistance. Presence is the anchor that grounds your transformation in reality. It is where true change happens, not in some distant future or fantasy, but right here, right now. So often the mind drifts between regrets about the past and anxieties about the future, scattering your energy and blurring your focus. But when you cultivate presence, you stop running and start truly living. This moment becomes your foundation, your power source, your doorway to transformation. Psychology reveals that being present activates brain regions linked to emotional regulation, clarity, and calmness. It quiets the noise of judgment and comparison that fuels insecurity and fear. When you fully engage with the present, you access a deep well of awareness that reveals your true needs, desires, and limits. This clarity is essential to rebuilding yourself authentically, because it cuts through the illusions and distractions that keep you stuck. Presence also strengthens your intuition, allowing you to make decisions aligned with your deepest truth rather than reactive fears or external pressures. Cultivating presence requires practice and patience. It is not about forcing your mind to be still, but learning to notice when it wanders and gently bringing it back to the here and now. This might be through focused breathing, mindful observation, or simply tuning into your body's sensations. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to pause, observe, and choose your response rather than react unconsciously. This pause creates a sacred space where transformation takes root, because it interrupts old patterns and opens the door for conscious change. Presence also deepens your connection to yourself and the world around you. When you are truly present, you become aware of the small details that often go unnoticed: the steady beat of your heart, the rhythm of your breath, the subtle shifts in your emotions. This awareness fosters self-compassion and acceptance because you see yourself as a living, evolving being rather than a fixed, flawed object. It also reconnects you to the richness of life, allowing you to experience gratitude and wonder even amidst challenges. This shift from scarcity to abundance fuels your motivation and resilience. Being present is a radical act of self-love and courage. It demands that you face discomfort without running and embrace uncertainty without fear. Yet, it also brings immense peace and power because you realize that the only moment you truly control is this one. This moment is your chance to choose transformation again and again, to act with intention, and to honor the person you are becoming. Presence dismantles the illusion that you must fix everything at once or have all the answers. Instead, it invites you to trust the process, to surrender to the flow, and to meet yourself exactly where you are. As you strengthen your presence, you weave the strands of your transformation into a living reality. Your journey becomes not a distant goal, but a continuous unfolding of growth and self-discovery. Each moment you choose presence, you deepen your commitment to disappear from old patterns and emerge as a new, empowered self. This moment is yours. Breathe it in, stand in it, Let it transform you. When presence becomes your anchor, the next step is to embrace the power of intentional silence. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your opinions, your reactions, silence feels like a rare and radical act. But it is in this silence, this deliberate withdrawal from noise and distraction, that transformation deepens. Silence is not emptiness. It is a fertile ground where clarity, creativity, and wisdom grow. Choosing silence allows you to step back from the chaos of external expectations and internal chatter, creating a sacred space where your true self can emerge and be heard. Psychologically, silence activates parts of the brain responsible for reflection, emotional integration, and insight. When you resist the urge to fill every moment with sound or distraction, your mind gains the chance to process, heal, and reorganize. This creates mental clarity that sharpens your understanding of who you are and what you truly want. Silence also quiets the anxious noise of overthinking and fear, revealing the deeper truths beneath the surface. It teaches patience and presence, because in silence, you learn to sit with discomfort rather than escape it. This skill is essential for transformation, because true growth often comes through facing, not avoiding, the unknown. Choosing silence requires courage. It means resisting the temptation to explain yourself, defend your choices, or seek constant validation. It means trusting that your worth does not depend on how loudly you speak or how much attention you receive. In silence, you cultivate a powerful form of self-respect, the respect that says your voice matters because it comes from a place of authenticity, not noise. This self-respect builds resilience, allowing you to stay grounded even when the world pushes back or misunderstands your transformation. Silence also sharpens your ability to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. When you quiet the external and internal noise, you hear your intuition more clearly. This inner voice guides you toward decisions that align with your highest good, rather than reactive impulses or conditioned fears. Listening deeply to yourself cultivates self-trust, a cornerstone of transformation. Without self-trust, it is easy to fall back into old patterns and doubts. With it, you gain the confidence to move forward boldly, even when the path is uncertain. This intentional silence is not isolation. It is a powerful form of connection. By turning inward, you connect with your core essence, your values, and your true desires. This connection fuels your transformation, grounding it in who you really are, rather than who others expect you to be. It also reconnects you to the subtle energies of the world, quiet moments of beauty, stillness, and insight that are easy to miss in constant noise. This deeper connection nourishes your spirit and strengthens your resolve to disappear from old versions of yourself and emerge renewed. By embracing silence, you step into a space where transformation is not forced or rushed, but allowed and nurtured. Silence becomes your sanctuary, your source of power, and your gateway to profound inner change. In this silence, you discover that transformation is not about louder voices or frantic effort. It is about stillness, trust, and the quiet courage to become who you truly are. As silence settles within you, the natural progression is to cultivate self-awareness with unwavering honesty. True transformation cannot flourish without seeing yourself clearly, your strengths, your shadows, your patterns, and your potential. This clarity demands more than surface-level observation. It calls for deep, compassionate inquiry into the beliefs and behaviors that shape your life. Self-awareness is the mirror that reflects your truth, stripping away illusions and self-deception. It empowers you to understand why you react the way you do, what drives your fears, and what truly ignites your passion. Without this clarity, change becomes superficial and fragile. But with it, transformation becomes rooted and enduring. Scientific studies confirm that heightened self-awareness enhances emotional intelligence and decision-making, equipping you to navigate challenges with wisdom rather than impulse. This understanding rewires your brain to respond thoughtfully, breaking cycles of automatic, damaging behavior. When you face your flaws and wounds honestly, you disarm their power over you. You begin to see them not as fixed flaws, but as old stories that no longer serve your growth. This shift releases you from victimhood and fuels your evolution into a master of your own life. Developing this level of self-awareness requires courage and patience. It is uncomfortable to confront parts of yourself you have ignored or denied, but every moment spent avoiding this truth is a moment spent trapped in old patterns. The discomfort of honest self-reflection is a necessary step toward freedom. It invites you to replace judgment with curiosity, to view your struggles as clues guiding you toward healing. This compassionate approach transforms self-awareness from harsh scrutiny into a powerful tool for growth. This clarity also sharpens your understanding of your desires and boundaries. When you know who you are and what you truly want, you can set clear limits that protect your energy and nurture your transformation. Boundaries become expressions of self-love rather than walls of fear. They ensure that the people and environments around you align with your evolving self, rather than pulling you back into old versions. This creates a fertile ground for change, because you no longer dilute your energy trying to please others or fit in where you don't belong. Self-awareness deepens your connection to your inner compass, your intuition. When you clearly see your patterns and motivations, you can distinguish between decisions made from fear and those made from authentic desire. This clarity fosters trust in your own judgment, freeing you from dependence on external validation or approval. You step into your power by becoming the primary source of your guidance and motivation. As this honest self-awareness grows, it fuels a profound transformation from the inside out. You stop reacting to life's circumstances and start responding with conscious choice. You break free from the shadows of old habits and beliefs, stepping into the light of your true potential. This is the moment when disappearance from the old self becomes complete. No longer hiding behind excuses or fear, but boldly standing in your authentic power. This clarity is the foundation upon which your new life is built, and it will sustain you through every challenge and triumph ahead. The clarity gained from self-awareness creates a profound shift in how you relate to your thoughts and emotions. Instead of being controlled by them, you begin to observe them with detachment and understanding. This shift is essential because the mind often deceives, spinning stories that trap you in fear, doubt, or regret. When you learn to witness your inner dialogue without immediate reaction, you gain freedom. You see your thoughts for what they are, passing phenomena, not absolute truths. This perspective is powerful because it breaks the chains of mental patterns that keep you stuck in old identities. It allows you to choose which thoughts serve your growth and which belong to the past you are ready to leave behind. This practice of mindful observation rewires your brain, strengthening areas responsible for focus, emotional regulation, and resilience. Neuroscience shows that when you observe thoughts without judgment, you create space for calmness and clarity to arise naturally. This mental space is where transformation thrives, as it gives you control over your responses rather than being a prisoner to impulses. You build the ability to pause before reacting, to choose courage over fear, and to act with intention rather than habit. This simple yet profound skill is the cornerstone of sustainable change. Observing your emotions with compassion is equally vital. Emotions are powerful messengers signaling what matters deeply to you. When you suppress or deny them, they grow louder, manifesting as anxiety, anger, or sadness. But when you meet your emotions with acceptance, you decode their messages and release their grip. This acceptance does not mean resignation, but a courageous embrace of your whole self, including the parts that feel uncomfortable or vulnerable. It fosters healing and integration, allowing you to transform emotional wounds into sources of strength and wisdom. This mindful relationship with your inner world transforms your identity from the inside out. No longer defined by reactive thoughts or suppressed feelings, you become the observer and the creator. This dual role empowers you to rewrite your story with intention, aligning your actions with your highest values and deepest desires. Transformation ceases to be a distant goal and becomes your lived reality, unfolding moment by moment through conscious choice. This process also enhances your ability to cultivate patience and persistence. Change is rarely instantaneous. It requires consistent practice and self-compassion through setbacks and challenges. Mindful observation teaches you to stay present with the discomfort of growth without giving in to frustration or self-criticism. You learn to trust the gradual unfolding of your transformation, knowing that every moment of awareness moves you closer to the person you want to become. Ultimately, mastering your inner landscape through observation creates the foundation for profound external transformation. When you command your thoughts and emotions rather than being controlled by them, you step fully into your power. You stop reacting to life's circumstances and start shaping your reality with clarity and courage. This is the pivotal moment where disappearance from your old self is complete and the emergence of your new self is undeniable. This power to observe, choose, and act is the essence of transformation, a skill you carry with you for life, lighting your path forward with unstoppable strength. Transformation demands more than awareness and observation. It requires decisive action rooted in unwavering commitment. The moment you realize the power within you, hesitation becomes the greatest enemy. Change cannot occur in the space of doubt or delay. It demands a fierce dedication to yourself, a promise that no matter how difficult the path, you will persist. This commitment is the bridge between the person you were and the person you are becoming. Without it, insights remain fleeting, and potential remains dormant. But with it, every step forward carries the weight of purpose, turning intention into reality. Action is not always grand or dramatic. Often it is the quiet decisions made in moments when no one is watching, choosing honesty over comfort, setting boundaries when it's easier to conform, and speaking your truth even when silence seems safer. These small acts accumulate, shaping your character and reinforcing your new identity. They build momentum that carries you through uncertainty, fear, and resistance. Each choice aligned with your authentic self chips away at old limitations and constructs a new foundation for your life. The psychology of habit reveals that repeated actions create neural pathways that solidify new behaviors. This means transformation is a process of rewiring your brain through consistent, intentional practice. The more you act from your emerging self, showing courage, discipline, and integrity, the stronger your new identity becomes. Your brain begins to crave these actions, shifting from old automatic patterns to conscious, empowered living. This neuroplasticity is a powerful ally in your transformation, turning what once felt impossible into natural expression. Fear will arise. Resistance will challenge you. These are signs that you are pushing beyond your comfort zone, breaking through old boundaries that once defined you. It's important to recognize that fear is not the absence of courage, but its companion. Courage is choosing to move forward despite fear, not waiting for fear to vanish. When you face fear head-on, it loses its grip and becomes fuel for your growth. Resistance signals that transformation is happening beneath the surface, and it will pass as you build resilience. Commitment also requires patience. Lasting change is rarely instant. It unfolds through cycles of progress and setback, growth, and recalibration. Impatience can derail transformation by tempting you to abandon the process when results seem slow. Instead, cultivate trust in the journey. Celebrate small victories and learn from challenges. This patience anchors you in persistence, ensuring you do not give up on yourself even when the path is steep. Taking decisive, consistent action transforms you from a passive observer into an active creator of your reality. You step out of the shadows of your former self and into the light of conscious becoming. This process breaks the illusion of helplessness and instills a profound sense of agency and power. Each choice is a declaration that you are no longer defined by your past, but by the relentless pursuit of your true potential. This commitment to action is the essence of transformation. It is the force that brings the invisible changes within into visible reality. It is the relentless drive that makes disappearance from the old self irreversible. It is the fuel that ignites your rebirth and sustains you as you rise into the person you were always meant to be. True transformation requires the courage to let go, not just of old habits or toxic relationships, but of the identities you have clung to for comfort and familiarity. Letting go is the greatest test of your strength because it forces you to face uncertainty and the unknown. It challenges everything you thought defined you. This surrender is not weakness, it is the ultimate act of power. It frees you from the prison of your past and clears space for the new you to emerge. Holding on to what no longer serves only weighs you down, slowing your growth and dimming your potential. When you choose to release, you reclaim your energy and redirect it toward your transformation. The psychology of attachment explains why letting go feels painful. Your brain resists change because it craves safety and predictability. It equates familiar pain with security, even if that pain has been limiting or destructive. Recognizing this pattern is crucial because it allows you to override automatic responses with conscious choice. You must remind yourself that growth lies beyond the safety zone, and the discomfort you feel is temporary, a sign of necessary evolution. This awareness strengthens your resolve to break free from old ties and embrace the freedom that comes with release. Letting go is an ongoing process, not a single event. It happens layer by layer, thought by thought, habit by habit. It requires patience and gentle persistence. Sometimes you will feel pulled back by old attachments, but each time you return to your commitment to release, you grow stronger. This cycle of letting go and returning to your purpose refines your transformation, making it deeper and more resilient. It is the repeated practice of surrender that rewires your nervous system and creates new pathways for freedom and growth. This process also teaches you the profound truth that your worth is not tied to your past or your possessions. You are more than the roles you have played, the mistakes you have made, or the labels others have given you. Letting go reveals your essence, pure, unshaped potential waiting to be claimed. This realization is empowering because it shifts your identity from what you have been to what you can become. It frees you from the burden of external validation and anchors your value in your own truth. When you let go, you create space for new experiences, perspectives, and opportunities to enter your life. This openness invites transformation at every level: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. It allows you to rebuild yourself on a foundation of authenticity rather than fear or obligation. In this space, you can redefine success, happiness, and fulfillment according to your deepest desires, not society's expectations. The act of letting go also strengthens your resilience. Each release is an act of bravery that trains you to face life's challenges without fear. You learn to trust yourself to handle uncertainty and change, knowing that growth is a natural process. This trust becomes a wellspring of inner peace and confidence that carries you through difficult times. Ultimately, letting go is the essential gateway to transformation. It is the moment when the old self fades away, making room for the new to rise. It is the courageous choice to embrace freedom, growth, and your true potential. When you master the art of letting go, you step fully into the power of transformation, unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniably free. Transformation demands that you redefine how you see yourself and the world around you. It calls for a shift so profound that it uproots old beliefs and plants seeds of new, empowering truths. Your mind holds the narrative that shapes your identity, and changing that narrative is the cornerstone of true rebirth. The stories you tell yourself about your worth, your abilities, your purpose either limit you or liberate you. To disappear into a new self, you must rewrite these internal scripts with clarity and conviction. This mental reprogramming reshapes your reality because your beliefs create your experience. The power of belief lies in its ability to influence your emotions, decisions, and actions at a subconscious level. When you operate from limiting beliefs, you are trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage and fear. These beliefs act like invisible chains, holding you back from growth. But when you consciously choose new beliefs rooted in possibility, courage, and worthiness, you change the trajectory of your life. You awaken the dormant potential within and unlock doors that once seemed closed forever. This shift is not a fleeting thought. It is a deliberate, persistent commitment to seeing yourself through a lens of strength and possibility. Reprogramming your mind requires mindfulness and intention. It is about becoming aware of the negative patterns that have guided your behavior and choosing to challenge them. This might feel uncomfortable because it involves questioning your deepest assumptions. Yet discomfort is the catalyst for transformation. With every challenge to old beliefs, you create space for new insights to take root. This mental work strengthens your resilience, sharpens your focus, and deepens your self-awareness. Over time, this new mindset becomes your default mode, guiding your actions and shaping your identity effortlessly. This internal revolution also demands self-compassion. Changing your beliefs is not about harsh judgment or self-criticism. It is about gentle persistence and kindness toward yourself. Transformation flourishes when you treat yourself with patience and understanding, especially when old fears or doubts resurface. Self-compassion allows you to maintain momentum even when the process feels hard. It reminds you that growth is a journey, not a destination. This balance of discipline and kindness nurtures your inner strength and supports lasting change. Your thoughts hold the key to your future. Each belief you adopt is a building block in the foundation of the person you are becoming. Choosing empowering beliefs rewires your brain for success, resilience, and happiness. It shifts your focus from obstacles to opportunities, from fear to courage, from limitation to expansion. This shift elevates your energy and magnetizes experiences aligned with your new identity. The more you embody these beliefs, the more real your transformation becomes, visible not only to yourself, but to the world around you. This mental transformation is a powerful form of disappearance. It is the death of the old self that no longer serves you. It is the birth of a new mindset that propels you forward with clarity and strength. When you master the art of belief, you take control of your inner world and, by extension, your outer reality. This shift is not just about thinking differently. It is about becoming different. It is the invisible change that makes all other transformation possible. When your mind changes, everything changes. True transformation is incomplete without the courage to let go of what no longer serves you. Clinging to old identities, toxic relationships, or limiting environments only slows your growth and keeps you tethered to the past. To disappear and become someone new, you must become comfortable with loss, not as defeat, but as liberation. This is not about giving up, it is about making space for something greater. Each attachment you release frees your energy and expands your capacity to evolve. The willingness to let go is a powerful act of self-love and a declaration of your readiness to embrace a new chapter. Letting go triggers fear and uncertainty because it challenges your sense of control. You fear losing stability, familiarity, or comfort. Yet these fears are illusions built on attachment, not on truth. True freedom comes when you realize that your value and strength are not tied to external circumstances or possessions. They come from within, from a deep well of resilience and self-awareness. When you grasp this, you can face the unknown with bravery instead of dread. This shift in perspective transforms fear into fuel, a driving force that pushes you beyond old limits and into a space of infinite possibility. Releasing the old is also about shedding limiting beliefs about who you should be, what you must do, or where you ought to belong. Society, family, and even your own mind have planted these ideas like seeds of conformity. Transformation demands that you uproot these seeds and plant new ones that honor your authentic desires and unique path. This process requires brutal honesty with yourself. You must identify the lies you've accepted and commit to replacing them with empowering truths. It takes strength to dismantle old frameworks, but every brick you remove brings you closer to the freedom you crave. As you discard what no longer aligns with your growth, you create space for new opportunities, relationships, and experiences. This openness is essential because transformation is not about survival, it is about thriving. When your inner world shifts, your outer world inevitably follows. You become a magnet for environments and people that reflect your new energy. This natural alignment accelerates your progress and deepens your transformation. The more you clear, the more you attract what truly serves your highest self. Learning to let go also sharpens your emotional intelligence. It teaches you to recognize when attachment becomes unhealthy and to respond with clarity rather than reaction. This skill builds emotional resilience, allowing you to navigate change with grace instead of resistance. It strengthens your ability to hold space for uncertainty, discomfort, and growth simultaneously. This emotional maturity is crucial for sustaining transformation because it prevents relapse into old patterns. You become the master of your internal landscape, able to choose freedom over fear consistently. Letting go is a ritual of rebirth. It is the conscious act of disappearing from your past self to emerge renewed and whole. This process demands bravery, patience, and unwavering commitment. But with every release, you reclaim your power and move closer to the life you are destined to create. Your transformation depends on your ability to surrender, not to weakness, but to the strength that lies beyond the familiar. When you let go, you do not lose yourself, you find yourself free and unbound. Transformation demands more than just letting go. It requires building something new from the ashes of your old self. After shedding layers that no longer serve you, there is a blank space to fill. This space is both terrifying and exhilarating. It holds the potential for reinvention, but that potential only becomes reality when you actively create. You cannot wait for change to happen, you must design it. The power to construct your new identity, your new life, lies squarely in your hands. This truth is both a responsibility and an incredible gift. Building yourself anew begins with clarity, knowing who you want to become, what values will guide you, and what vision pulls you forward. Without this clarity, you risk drifting back into old habits, slipping into familiar comfort zones that trap you in cycles of dissatisfaction. When you define your core principles and aspirations, you anchor your transformation. This foundation acts as a compass, directing every decision, action, and thought toward the person you are becoming. Clarity transforms vague hopes into focused goals, making the impossible feel within reach. The process of creation also demands patience. Real change does not happen overnight. You must give yourself grace to grow, to stumble, and to learn. Transformation is a slow unfolding, like the gradual bloom of a rare flower. It requires daily commitment, even when motivation wanes or progress feels invisible. Small, consistent steps, taken with intention, accumulate into profound shifts. Embracing patience keeps you grounded and prevents discouragement from derailing your progress. Every moment you invest in yourself strengthens the foundation of your new identity. Creating your new self also involves cultivating new habits and mindsets. Habits are the architecture of transformation. They shape your days, your focus, and your energy. To transform, you must consciously adopt habits that align with your vision and discard those that undermine it. This is not about perfection, but about progress. Each new habit forms a neural pathway in your brain, rewiring your default responses to stress, fear, or temptation. Over time, these new pathways become your natural way of being. Your mindset evolves alongside, shifting from limitation to possibility, from doubt to confidence. Surrounding yourself with supportive influences is a crucial part of construction. The people, environments, and inputs you allow into your life profoundly affect your transformation. To build something new, you must choose allies who uplift, challenge, and inspire you. Toxic or stagnant influences pull you back into old patterns. Intentional community acts as a multiplier for your growth, holding you accountable and reflecting your progress. When your environment supports your evolution, transformation accelerates and becomes sustainable. Finally, creating yourself anew requires embracing your own power. Transformation is a declaration that you are the author of your story. No longer a victim of circumstance, you claim control over your path. This empowerment fuels resilience, courage, and creativity. When you build with this sense of agency, setbacks become lessons, challenges become opportunities, and fear becomes a signal to push harder. Your transformation becomes unstoppable because it is rooted in the deepest source of strength, the belief that you can create the life you desire. You are not just changing, you are becoming. This process is a fierce, beautiful act of creation. You hold the tools, the blueprint is within you. Now is the time to build. True transformation demands radical honesty with yourself. You cannot rebuild what you refuse to see. Facing your inner truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is the essential starting point. It means looking deeply into your fears, your doubts, your limiting beliefs, and owning them without excuse or denial. This is not about judgment or shame, it is about clarity.